Hi and welcome to Spiritual Link, the podcast. A podcast about how developing spiritual well-being can help you in your daily life and how that can enhance your confidence in who you are and what you are. The podcast is hosted by Inez and Tor. Inez is a development medium with over 30 years of experience in the field, and Tor has been her apprentice since 2013. In this episode, we will talk about the color band and chakra violet. You can support us by sharing the episode on your social media channels, subscribing to our podcast, and leaving a review. Remember, you can always find us on @spirituallinkco on Instagram. We are back again, Inez. It's another Friday.
Wonderful. Yes, good to see you, Thor.
Good to see you too. How you been?
I have been well, and yourself?
Yeah, been good. Been moving house today. Went surprisingly smooth. Nothing
Good.
broke. All my crystals are like one piece,
Oh,
you know.
good.
I had my amethyst on my lap all the way through, like babying it. Like the crystal ball
Absolutely.
was
Oh, I
like
love that.
wrapped in
Yes.
so much clothes and plastic
Oh,
wrapper, you know.
nice. Did you
Trying to
feel it purring through all of your laundry? Yes. Yes, I like this. Oh, that's nice. Good. And your crystal ball, how did that make it? Also in
Yeah, it was all fine. Yeah,
good.
it was wrapped, and I was sort of sitting with the amethyst in my lap, and then the crystal ball was in the bag next to me, and I was like, these are my babies. So
Oh, that's so sweet.
it was
Oh,
like, please
that's
drive
nice.
slowly.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was all good. So that was really smooth and just really nice, really. Yeah, and
Good. I'm
have a
pleased.
garden facing room and everything, which
Yeah,
is really lovely.
relaxing. Yeah, nice, nice. Oh, I'm happy for you. Well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. Yes. Well, I was in London, as I said, and with the weather being like this, the Thames, and there's canoeing going up. It was beautiful. Really, really
Hmm.
lovely. Very, very nice. But getting back to, well, we're on the last color this
Yes, we
week.
are.
And of course, the color bands is the same word as chakrams as well. It's exactly one and the same thing. And to get on to the last color, which of course is violet, but the chakrams, which has been mentioned, are all white to begin with. And it is the sun which then inflects and brings forward the color into each part of our body, to each part of the chakrams in turn. In other words, it is a duplication of the rainbow from the earth. The body has that identical rainbow as well. Everybody, everyone has the same little rainbow of colors, identical little rainbow of colors. The variation, if somebody says, oh, no, they're not, I don't agree with that, which is absolutely correct. Because although we all have a full set of the 7 colors in the aura, which of course then comes back to the chakrams, in exactly the order that we have been speaking about. But this is where things can also change a little bit, because the scheme of the colors can be seen a little differently by whoever is seeing and looking at the aura of the person, which is reflection of each particular color, of course, because the mind of that person happens to see things a little differently. Can also be whatever's going on around in our life, illnesses, of course, as well, also sometimes gives a slight variation to the color schemes from the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, of course. It can also vary a little bit. So when we speak about the chakrams, just to reiterate, which is very important, because we are talking about balancing these chakrams, balancing, rejuvenating our colors. The word chakram, as you know, is Sanskrit for wheel. It is the wheel of life. It is an ever-turning wheel, and therefore that wheel revolves around our life, around the pattern of our life. It's transporting us from one day to the next, never still. And of course, we are never still either. Nothing is ever the same, even from 1/2 of a second to the next. Everything is continually moving on. Even if we sleep, even when we sleep, our thoughts are changing. Even if we are awake, the same thing is happening. Possibly everything around us as well that we are involved in, the world, the atmosphere, the situations of different countries and so on, even moving out into the planets, everything is constantly changing. So it is a continual wheel. The chakram is a continual wheel. So if we're talking about, let's say, balancing the chakrams, or invigorating or balancing the colors within ourselves to get them into condition for our particular life at any particular time, such as now. Now is the important situation. So what we're doing by adjusting those colors, we are preparing ourselves, we are preparing the spokes of the wheel of life, which is the chakram, in order to propel us forward in the best possible manner. Now, if the spokes of a wheel are broken, it will not perform very well. It will perform irrationally. And you might ask, so how does this happen? These spokes sometimes become broken or in need of mending through ill health, stress sometimes, but it can also even relate to certain aspects of our karmic pattern, which we'll discuss, or path of life, in another podcast. But that is how these spokes actually become damaged. It can also become damaged through, if you are a sensitive individual, through even unintentional unkindness, because we are so sensitive. It can be through shouting. You hear people shouting in your office. All of those things can have an effect on the spokes of the wheel of life. And what we're doing, because our life, the speed of the chakrams is very fast indeed. And if you take digressing a little, the wheels of an automobile, they have to be balanced. So going over the bumps of our life brings them out of alignment, and that's what we're doing by perhaps every day allowing 5-10 minutes to align the spokes of the wheel of life for ourselves, so that we get through the day in the best possible fashion, and that can be physically and certainly psychologically. So when we meditate, which is, I'm not digressing, it is part of the color, it's part of everything. So in meditation, the body and the mind, the inner mind, the power of self can then be directed to see those areas, such as the chakrams, the color, to see those areas within ourselves where this imbalance might be and where it is necessary to rejuvenate or lessen the degree of whatever is happening. So, as I said, we all have the same little rainbow of colors, everyone. And as I said, it is always the prerogative of the physical mind to see them differently. But that has nothing to do with the effectiveness of working on yourself or working and helping other individuals as well. So as we come to the last chakram color, which is the violet, it is the crown, and this is a spiritual link. It is the entree of the power of spirit. And before you get on, oh, they're bad spirits, they're the spirits, another topic. What we're trying to do is to bring a little semblance of understanding by separating each topic a little tiny bit, even though they're all one. Now then, with the crown chakra, of course, it is the entree of spirit. So last week, I believe we just asked you to indulge in the situation of the other element that we introduced, which is the guiding force. And as we said then, this force is represented and accepted in many, many different ways throughout the world. But if you can, to take a leap of faith with us and accept the fact of a presence. Otherwise, the crown chakra is another color, and why bother playing around with it? So take that leap of faith and accept that there is a presence. And this presence we can feel, which is again so individual, either through an inner feeling, an inner seeing with our mind. All of this is encouraged in meditations as we open chakra and rejuvenate those chakrams as well with the power of self. So with this wonderful communication comes peace of mind. So if we just get back to the color of indigo, which is the crown chakra. Now this chakra, if it is if this chakra is underpowered, what happens or can happen? All of the other chakrams may be working very well, and you will get things done in life, but they will be on a pretty mundane, mediocre level, because that again we call it a divine spark. Divine means you don't quite know where the hell it's coming from, but it certainly isn't physical. It doesn't come from Google. So because the divine spark is underpowered, that chakra is underpowered, we do things in a lethargical way. It'll get done, but so-so. Now, if that same chakra is overpowered, wow, we have great ideas, great plans, change the world, change our life, do this and that and the other. But that's exactly where they will stay. Great ideas, change the world, change yourself, but nothing will actually be achieved. Nothing will happen because it is overpowered. You're spaced out. My God, you're thinking of this. Help the animals. Help this. Help that. Help everybody. And in the end, there's so many things you want to help. Nothing actually gets done. So what we are going to do, as I said, with all of this, it is a feeling that you will have inside of yourself if it needs a little bit of TLC, an increase or perhaps a decrease. As I said, you do not want to have a flat life, a meaningless life. We want to have a balanced life. And that is what we're going to move towards with all of the chakrams, that you lead a good life. But also, if a chakram is weak, I'm talking about the crown again, because it is very important as well. We can also have a deep sense of loneliness and depression. So that chakram needs a lot of inspiration. It's also a wonderful color in which to meditate into. Leonardo da Vinci apparently used some tinted, it's called purple glass that he used. Well, he lived in Italy, so he has more sun than perhaps we do. And he used that to direct the rays of the sun, the rays of light, to where he used to meditate. So the violet deals an awful lot, deals with the mind within the head, and it also hits the pituitary gland, which is the psychic situation anyway. But the violet ray first comes and moves around, as it were, through the top of the head and through into the pineal gland, which of course, or the third eye, it moves around. It is therefore, this color violet is therefore able to soothe, calm, and bring forward the more artistic, the more psychic, the more spiritual self. And before I go on, you might say, my God, what color is violet? What color is indigo? They're very similar. Please do not lump them together. One is a little bit more on the red side, and one is a little bit more on the blue side. It will then be your own choice, your own interpretation, which is which, but they are different. Now, the more cosmetic situations of violet, actually, they can help the growth of hair because it will help the roots. It will stimulate and nourish the roots of the hair to rejuvenate. Also, this would also not only rejuvenate, but it also helps irritations of the scalp, i.e. dandruff. Does not mean you no longer buy Head and Shoulders, but it helps to eliminate the problem in the first place. So all can be helped by sitting in a violet ray, drinking, eating, or imbibing it. By sitting in a violet ray, you can get a little lamp that has a violet ray from it. It is possible. Drinking it means not to put a dye or a color into it. You get something as simple as crepe paper, put that under a bottle of water, leave it there for about 3 hours, and it will have absorbed the color, even though it is still white, of that violet. And on that colorification saying the watercolor will still be white, although you have violet paper underneath it. If you take the crystal, the amethyst crystal, and you leave it in the sun, it will soon, not soon, within a year, it will turn white. But it will still retain the properties of the violet or indigo amethyst color. So eating it, of course, we have plums, we have aubergines, so that's very, very obvious situation. But we can also breathe in that color. Breathing in that color clears the mind and balances the situations in our own mind between earth, which is very physical, and the spirit world, which is up in the air. And many more basic functions within that area. Now, when I say breathing, you sit on a chair, feet on the floor, hands on your lap, closing your eyes, and then you move your head down, down, down between your legs, and then you breathe in, deep breath, and then you say to yourself, I am now breathing in the positivity of violet. And then as you, with the out breath, as you go back between your legs, you are exhaling any discrepancies, if it's loneliness, distress, depression, anything like that. Let it go. Imagine it running out, literally like the deluge after a very heavy rainfall, that sort of situation. That is how you can breathe in the color with all of the colors, exactly the same. Another important thing with the violet is not to forget that it is also a perfect cleaner and purifier for the veins. Blood that passes through the veins, not the arteries, which carry the blood back with its impurities. Then it is cleared through the lungs and then pumped back with oxygen, which therefore not only helps the breathing, helps the lungs to function, and also helps in many other ways to clear much of the impurities from the body. It can also help the kidneys and the bladder, because the function of violet is to clean. The kidneys clean, the bladder cleans. And when one sees within your mind the weakening of a color, it could mean that many other colors might also be necessary to be restored to help that color. Before I continue, Thor, I know you're very crystal orientated. You're also very color orientated, and also you're very strict with your own meditation regime. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Good question. Is there anything I'd like to add to that? Well, I do love my large amethyst that I've got behind me, and I do feel the connection with that
Yes,
crystal.
fantastic.
Yeah. And I do feel like having these crystals definitely um definitely does open my mind in a different way. In terms of the meditation, I suppose it's interesting when you do enter into that last room at the top of your meditation, and I can often feel how sometimes after a busy day, that space
Hmm.
can be quite sort of diluted or
Yes,
colluded or just messy, basically. I
yes,
suppose you have to spend quite a lot of time trying to clear all of those physical thoughts out to really be able to connect. And there's actually sometimes it's interesting when I really do feel spirit close. It's like a
yes,
tingling at the top of my head or even a
yes,
hand. It's like someone, it's a feeling of someone reaching in almost.
yes,
It's the only
yes.
way I can describe it, which to some might seem scary, but
Mm,
obviously it is not scary whatsoever because there's nothing evil about it or nothing bad
yeah.
about it. It's just spirit and guides coming
Mhm.
close. Yeah, I think that's the most fascinating
Okay.
experience I have sometimes when it sometimes feels like something is reaching in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what we're doing by seeing color in our own way, which is could be a seeing, it can also be smelling, tasting, a texture. It's so very varied. Um, but so by doing so, what we're doing by seeing a color, it is purely giving an indication of where that color is needed, not particularly what color is necessary to use. That again, it's a psychic science, but also when as we concentrate on each color individually, we get a sense of that color. That's why I threw in tasting and smelling,
Mm.
obviously in the psychic sense, the sixth sense. So we each have different ways of sensing that color. So if you feel it's weak, you think, oh yeah, maybe I should have this or that. So you may not see another color, but perceive it in another way. But the main situation, what we're trying to emphasize with ourselves, is the need for the physical body to be working as well as possible. If we are happy in the physical mind, our attitude also is very different, and we are able to cope with the different changes in life in a much easier fashion, and perhaps to move through life and its difficulties in a more confident manner. That is what all of these colors do by strengthening, regulating them, uh, understanding them. Uh, that I feel is the important situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what you just said is just so much true, and it's often something I know that you say to your clients and the people that you work with, and also the people that I work with, right? Is that most of the people that we work with are not going to become monks in Tibet, right?
No,
They have a
no,
day job,
absolutely,
you
and we
know,
like living.
and we like living. We have a day
That's
job. We're
right.
going to go to the museum when we're allowed to. We're going to go
Totally.
to the
Yes.
opera or a
Yeah.
rock concert if that's what you're
Absolutely.
into.
Yes. We'll
And what we
crowd into that pub. Yes.
Yeah, and what we're doing by cleansing and balancing and recalibrating our chakras is like where you just began is it's about being able to make the most out of that situation, right? And
Absolutely.
propel our life forward.
Yeah.
And we're taking care of our
Yes.
mind, right? Because we want to be that best version of ourselves. And that's why we should do it. And that's why it's
Yes.
such an important practice to do. It's not necessarily to become a monk sitting in
Nothing.
Tibet,
No.
it's about living our best life.
That's right. And as you said, it's being ourselves, who we
Yeah.
are, have the confidence to be who we are. And also, it is our birthright, every human being's birthright, to find happiness.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't have partners, maybe who knows what life throws at us, but we can still be very much content in our own space that's been allocated to us. But
Yeah.
always to have the confidence in who you are. Somebody thinks you're right, you're perfect for the world. Otherwise, trust me, we would not have been born individually the way we are.
Yeah.
We're meant to be that way,
Yeah.
and that
Exactly.
applies to the diversity of what we're talking about. That's why I'm always, I know you are too, Thor, so grateful for any feedbacks. It doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be, oh, you're so wonderful and I can hardly wait for the next podcast. No, it's a challenge to the mind when you question someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
also our right.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
absolutely.
Because
Amazing.
from that we can also learn.
Yeah. We learn so much for feedback, and it's about being open and curious to getting feedback and comments in return. So we
Yeah,
definitely welcome that.
totally.
Do we have a positive message for the week that people can hold on to?
What is coming is better than what is gone.
Love it. So simple and so true. What is
Yeah.
coming is better than what it's, yeah.
Than what is gone.
Yeah.
We all think, my God, what is the norm? I don't know what the norm is. Sure we do. Optimism,
Yeah. I
hope.
agree.
And I think the human race worldwide, we are so clever. We outlived the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That is true. Well, thank you, Ines, for
That's
another
okay.
glorious Friday. That was absolutely amazing, and I've learned so much more new about the crown
Thank
chakram,
you.
the color violet. Thank you so much.
That's okay. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode about the color band and chakra violet. If you have any questions, comments, or wants us to explore a topic even further, please reach out on our Instagram account @spirituallingco.